All right, so you're prepping for a Shunter interview, huh? Well, we've got a whole stack of RoleCatcher resources here, and some of these insights are pretty fascinating, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a role that doesn't always get the spotlight, but it's absolutely crucial for rail transport to run smoothly.
For sure. So we're going to break it all down for you. What Shunters do, where they work, and even the good and the bad parts of the job. Kind of like a crash course before you walk into that interview.
Exactly. And we'll be getting into the nitty-gritty of real interview questions, the follow-ups they might throw at you, and how to make your answers really stand out.
Sounds good. So first things first, let's get a handle on the role itself. The RoleCatcher guide talks about moving these shunting units, driving locomotives, switching wagons around. It seems pretty hands-on, right?
Oh, absolutely it is. Imagine like a giant puzzle, but it's made of train cars. And you're the one putting all the pieces together, building trains, moving them across the yard, making sure everything is where it needs to be, when it needs to be there.
So it's not just about driving a train. It's like you're orchestrating this whole dance of wagons and carriages.
Exactly. And that means working with locomotives, remote control devices, all sorts of specialized equipment. It's a dynamic role, that's for sure. You need technical skills, but also a strategic mind.
Okay, I get it. So
Yeah.
let's jump ahead to the interview itself. RoleCatcher gave us a bunch of potential questions, and I think going through some of these would be super helpful for anyone listening. Why don't we start with a classic? What experience do you have in shunting?
Yeah, that one seems pretty straightforward on the surface, but it's actually your chance to show them you're passionate about this and to really highlight the skills you bring to the table.
So don't just give them a list of your past jobs, right?
Definitely not. Go deeper. Talk about specific projects you've worked on, challenges you've overcome, any special skills you've picked up along the way. Maybe you've mastered a specific shunting technique or have experience with a certain type of equipment that they use.
That makes sense. Now, what if someone listening is totally new to the field? Should they just be upfront about having zero experience and hope for the best?
No, not at all. Even without direct shunting experience, there are transferable skills from other jobs that you can highlight. Think about it. Have you worked in logistics, warehousing, any environment where attention to detail, a strong work ethic, and following procedures were key?
That's a good point. So it's about showing them you've got the basic skills and you're ready and willing to learn the shunting specifics.
Exactly. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be a real game changer. You can actually input the job description and it'll pinpoint the key skills they're looking for, helping you tailor your answers to really emphasize those qualities.
That's like having your own personal interview coach, right?
Yeah.
Analyzing what the job needs and then suggesting how to best present your experience.
Precisely. Okay, moving on, another question they love to ask is, how do you ensure safety when shunting? This one's all about proving you understand the protocols and procedures, how things are done safely.
So it's not enough to just say safety is important.
Yeah.
You need to show them, how to actually put that into practice.
Right. Talk about doing those thorough visual inspections, checking the brakes, communicating clearly with your team members, and always being aware of what's going on around you.
I bet you could really impress them by mentioning that you stay up to date on all the latest industry regulations and best practices. It shows that you're committed to safety beyond just the bare minimum.
Exactly. And don't forget to connect it back to your experience. Have you implemented safety measures in your past roles? Have you taken any specialized safety training? Bring that up.
Yeah, that's a great way to show them you're proactive when it comes to safety.
Okay, now let's look at a question that tests your teamwork skills. How do you communicate effectively with other shunters and team members? In a shunting yard, things move fast, everyone's got to be coordinated, communication is absolutely key.
Right. It's not just about you moving trains. It's about being part of this bigger team, working together so everything runs smoothly and safely.
Exactly. So highlight your ability to give and receive clear instructions, use hand signals confidently, and always maintain that situational awareness.
Oh, and maybe even mention a time when you had to deal with a communication breakdown or a misunderstanding in a past job. It shows that you can handle those tricky interpersonal things that pop up in any team, right?
Absolutely. It shows you can adapt and be proactive when it comes to communication.
Okay, let's tackle another question, one that really digs into your technical knowledge. What experience do you have with different types of shunting equipment? This is your chance to wow them with what you know about Locomotives, wagons, those remote control devices, all the specialized gear you find in a shunting yard.
Yeah, if you have any certifications or training for specific equipment, definitely mention those. And if you've worked with a range of equipment models or brands, show them that breadth of experience that you can handle variety.
So it's all about showing you're adaptable and you're willing to learn new systems.
Precisely. Now, get ready for a bit of a curveball. How do you handle unexpected situations, such as equipment malfunctions or inclement weather?
Right.
They want to see how you solve problems and how you stay calm when things get tough.
This feels like a question where telling a story is really important. Don't just tell them, I'm a good problem solver. Give them a real example.
Exactly. Think of a specific situation from your past where you faced a similar challenge. Describe the problem, the steps you took to fix it, and the positive outcome you got in the end.
And remember, it doesn't have to be some heroic tale where you single-handedly save the day. It's more about showing that you can think critically, assess risks, and make smart decisions when you're under pressure.
Right. And you can even use RoleCatcher's AI to practice how you tell your story and get feedback on how it comes across. The AI can analyze things like your tone of voice, your pacing, even your facial expressions. It helps you fine-tune your storytelling so it really lands.
It's like having a virtual mock interview coach,
Yeah.
helping you polish your presentation so your answers are clear, concise, and leave an impact.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to a question that looks at how you organize your work. Imagine they ask, how do you prioritize tasks when you're shunting multiple trailers or working on a tight schedule? This one really gets at how you manage your time and your workload when everything's moving fast.
It's about juggling all those priorities without letting anything slip, especially when things get a little crazy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about a time when you had to deal with a bunch of tasks at once. Maybe there were unexpected delays or the plan changed suddenly. Walk them through how you made those decisions. What factors did you consider when you were figuring out the order of tasks? How did you make sure everything got done on time and met the standards?
Yeah, and it's not just about checking things off the list. It's about doing it all safely and efficiently.
No.
Did you have to delegate stuff? Communicate with other team members to keep everyone in sync?
Those are great things to highlight. It shows that you can think strategically, collaborate with your team, and always keep safety top of mind, even when you're under pressure.
This next one might seem a little tricky, but it's one you should definitely be ready for. Can you describe a time when you had to work with a difficult team member or customer? Now, before you start picturing yourself ranting about that coworker you never got along with, remember, this isn't about bad-mouthing anyone.
Right, it's about showcasing your conflict resolution skills, your ability to stay professional even when things get a bit tough interpersonally. Pick an example where you successfully navigated a difficult interaction and focus on the steps you took to address the issue and the positive outcome you were able to achieve.
So instead of dwelling on the negative, highlight your communication skills, your empathy, and your ability to solve problems. Did you actually listen to the other person's point of view? Did you find some common ground or a compromise that worked for everyone?
Excellent points. And here's a pro tip. If you can connect your example back to safety or teamwork, even better. Maybe you had to deal with a colleague who wasn't following safety procedures, or you had to smooth things over between team members who were clashing and it was affecting productivity.
It shows that you can handle those sensitive situations without losing sight of the bigger picture, the safety and efficiency of the whole operation.
Okay, now let's move on to a question that looks at your commitment to professional growth. How do you stay current with industry regulations and best practices? This is all about showing that you're a lifelong learner, that you're always looking to improve your knowledge and skills.
So it's not enough to just say, I love to learn. You need to give them some concrete examples. Do you go to industry conferences or workshops? Do you subscribe to trade publications? Do you follow online forums or podcasts that are relevant to the field?
Those are all great examples. And don't just list activities, give specific instances. Talk about a recent conference that really broadened your knowledge of shunting automation or a safety training you did that introduced you to some new protocols.
It's all about showing them you're actively engaged with the industry and you're taking that new knowledge and putting it into practice in your work.
Speaking of staying current, this next question ties in nicely. What experience do you have with different types of shunting equipment? The railway industry is constantly changing, with new technologies and equipment popping up all the time.
So it's not just about knowing how to use the equipment you're already familiar with. It's also about showing that you're adaptable, and willing to learn new systems.
Exactly. Highlight any experience you have with modern shunting technologies, like remote control systems or automated shunting processes. Even if you haven't had direct hands-on experience, show them that you're aware of these developments and eager to learn more.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be incredibly helpful. It can analyze the job description and pinpoint the specific technologies they're using so you can tailor your answers and show them you're knowledgeable about those systems.
It's like getting a sneak peek into their operations before you even walk through the door.
Now, let's talk about leadership. Even if the shunter role isn't a management position, strong leadership qualities are always valuable.
Absolutely. When they ask, what leadership skills do you possess, they're looking for evidence that you can take initiative, motivate others, and help drive positive results.
So think beyond formal titles or being in charge. Have you mentored new colleagues, stepped up to lead a project, taken ownership of a task, and really gone above and beyond to make sure it was a success?
Those are all great examples of leadership in action. And remember, it's not just about what you did, but how you did it. Highlight your communication skills, your ability to inspire others, and your commitment to achieving those shared goals.
Okay, let's wrap up this question marathon with a focus on quality. The interviewer might ask, how do you ensure quality and accuracy in your shunting work? After all, precision is super important in this role.
Absolutely. This is your chance to shine a light on your meticulous attention to detail, your commitment to following procedures, and your understanding of how crucial accuracy is in shunting operations.
So what kind of specific examples could you give them?
Talk about your process for double-checking couplings, verifying destinations, and carefully logging and tracking all your movements. Do you have any personal systems or techniques you use to minimize errors and make sure everything is done to the highest standard?
It's all about showing them that you take pride in your work and you're always striving for excellence in everything you do.
You know, as we've been going through these questions, I keep thinking about how much RoleCatcher's AI can really boost your interview prep. Imagine being able to upload the job description and instantly get a list of the most relevant questions tailored just for you with guidance on how to answer them.
And it's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it. RoleCatcher offers AI-powered feedback on your responses, so you can actually practice your answers on video and get insights into your tone, your pacing, your overall impact.
It's like having a virtual interview coach right there with you, helping you pinpoint areas for improvement and refine your approach before the big day.
It takes all the guesswork out of preparing, giving you the tools and the confidence to really shine.
And that confidence can make a world of difference. It allows you to relax, connect with the interviewer, and really let your passion for the role come through.
Okay, so we've tackled a ton of interview questions, and we've seen how RoleCatcher's AI can be a real game changer for your preparation.
But there's one more piece to this deep dive. Let's talk about the bigger picture. Industry trends and career insights from the RoleCatcher resources.
I'm ready to connect the dots. What can you tell us about what's happening in the shunting world right now?
Well, the railway industry is going through some exciting changes with a big focus on sustainability and efficiency.
So those sleek modern trains we see aren't just pretty faces. There's a lot of innovation happening behind the scenes.
Exactly. We're seeing more and more remote control devices, automated trains, and other technologies that are designed to streamline operations and make things safer.
Now, I know some people might hear automation and start worrying about their job security. What's the outlook for shunter roles in this evolving landscape?
That's a valid concern. While it's true that automation has led to some job losses, the demand for skilled shunters is still there.
So there's still a need for that human expertise to manage these complex systems and handle those curveballs that come up.
Absolutely. Shunting is a dynamic role. It requires you to be adaptable, a good problem solver, and to have a deep understanding of how railway operations work. Those qualities are tough to replicate with automation alone.
That's good to hear. So even though the industry is changing, there are still plenty of opportunities for people who are passionate about shunting and who are willing to embrace those new technologies.
Exactly. And remember, there's always room for career advancement. With experience and continuous learning, you can move into more specialized roles, take on supervisory positions, or even explore opportunities in train driving or railway management.
So you're not stuck in the shunting yard forever. You can really chart your own course within this industry, which is always changing and growing.
Now, before we wrap things up, I want to bring up something that really stood out to me in the RoleCatcher Career Guide. The pros and cons of being a shunter.
I'm all ears. It's always good to have a balanced view.
Well, on the positive side, you get to work outdoors, you're doing hands-on work, and you're contributing to a vital industry. There's a real sense of accomplishment that comes with building trains and making sure they get where they need to go safely.
And don't forget about the physical fitness aspect. You're definitely getting your steps in as a shunter.
Exactly. But of course, there are challenges too. The work can be physically demanding, you often have to work irregular hours, and you're exposed to all kinds of weather conditions. Safety is absolutely paramount as you're working with heavy machinery and navigating an environment that can be hazardous.
It's not a job for everyone, that's for sure. But for those who thrive on challenge and are passionate about the railway, it sounds like a rewarding career path.
And that's the key takeaway here. Knowing both the rewards and the challenges lets you make a truly informed decision about whether this is the right path for you.
Okay, so we've really explored the shunter role in depth, tackled those common interview questions, and even looked at industry trends and career insights.
And we can't forget about the amazing power of RoleCatcher's AI when it comes to interview prep. It's a real game changer.
Absolutely. So for everyone listening out there, remember, knowledge is power. The more you know about the role, the industry, and what to expect in that interview, the more confident and prepared you'll be.
And never underestimate the power of genuine enthusiasm and passion. Let your interest in the role shine through, and you'll be well on your way to landing that dream job.
You know, one thing that really caught my eye was that discussion about shunting automation. It's mentioned in the career guide, but I think it would be great to dig a little deeper into that.
Yeah, it's definitely a fascinating part of how the industry is changing, and it's something that's going to have a big impact on shunters in the years to come.
For sure. So what exactly does shunting automation look like? Are we talking robots running the whole shunting yard?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering the same thing. Not quite robots taking over completely. It's more about using tech to make certain shunting operations more efficient and streamlined. For instance, we're seeing a lot more remote control systems these days, which let shunters operate locomotives and move wagons around from a central control center.
So it's not about getting rid of human shunters altogether. It's more about giving them better tools and boosting efficiency.
Exactly. Automation can help cut down on human errors, make things safer, and make the whole yard run better. But it's important to remember that even with all this new technology, human expertise is still super valuable.
Right, because you're always going to have those unexpected situations, equipment that malfunctions, or just complicated scenarios that need a human to make a judgment call and figure out a solution.
Precisely. And that's definitely something worth highlighting in your interview. Even as technology keeps advancing, those core shunter skills, being adaptable, problem solving, communicating well, and being a team player, those will always be in demand.
So if you're asked about your experience with shunting automation, make sure you emphasize that you're open to new technologies and that you understand how human skills and those advancements can work together.
Now, before we wrap things up completely, I wanted to circle back to something we talked about earlier, career advancement. The RoleCatcher Guide mentions a few different paths for shunters, but I can't stress enough how important continuous learning is.
Yeah, it's not just about putting in the hours. It's about really growing your knowledge and skill set so you could open up those new opportunities.
Exactly. If you're ambitious and want to move up in your career, think about getting more certifications, going to industry workshops, or even looking into formal education in railway operations or logistics.
Those investments you make in your professional development, they can really pay off down the line. They can help you move into those more specialized roles, maybe supervisory positions, or even open doors to train driving or railway management.
It's all about taking charge of your career path and actively looking for ways to grow.
Well, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've explored the ins and outs of being a shunter, tackled those common interview questions, and even looked at trends in the industry and insights for your career.
And let's not forget about RoleCatcher. Their AI tools are amazing and can really make a difference in how you prepare for your interview.
Absolutely. So to everyone listening, remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about the role, the industry, and the interview process, the more confident and prepared you'll be when you walk in that door.
And never underestimate those good old-fashioned qualities. Enthusiasm and passion. Let your genuine interest in the role shine through, and you'll be well on your way to landing that job.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of shunting. We wish you the best of luck in your interview, and remember, you've got this.